Hi, I'm Mark McPherson, and welcome to another one of my blogs in the series. 52 blogs in 52 weeks, with each blog being about one of my types of people, my 52 types of people who are poorly behaved and at times downright difficult. And this week I'm talking about and writing about number 42, too personal. The person who is too personal is exactly that. They're too personal. They ask you questions and make comments about things in your personal life, about you, about your body, about your relationships and your lifestyle, which are, quite frankly, well, they're none of their business. They ask you questions that are going on in your personal life and your private life, which are way too familiar and too intimate. Now, only you can decide what is too personal. It depends on you, it depends on the relationship you have with the other person, who the other person is, it depends on the situation and the context, of course. And it'll change from person to person and context to context, day to day. Now, what is too personal sort of is on a bit of a continuum. Way down one end we've got stuff which is fairly ordinary. Stuff which, how are you going? Where'd you go on your holidays? What's your family doing this weekend? Things like that. But somewhere in this middle, we start to get into things which are getting a bit more personal. Where do you live? How old you are? How are you getting home from the party tonight? All those sorts of things. Did you get that job you're going for? Now, once again, these are personal things, but it might be okay. Coming from the right people in the right context, it's okay. But on other occasions, it's not. Now, way up here, we start to get into questions which are, and comments which are way too personal, way too intimate, way too familiar. None of their business to be asking those sort of things. They're personal. So it's a continuum from down one end, right through this middle area, and then moving on to things which are really way over the boundary. But only you can decide. So, how do we decide what to do with these people? Well, one of the first things you can do, and the most obvious things, is to simply ignore them. You don't always have to respond to people who say things which you find inappropriate. And sometimes it works. You simply ignore the question, their comment, and get on with the business. But other times, that's not possible. There are other times when you really have to put your foot down, so to speak. And you have to say something like, John, that's the third time you've asked me questions now about my private life. Those sort of questions aren't acceptable in this context. Let's get on and do the work we're supposed to be doing. Oh, I don't know, something along those sorts of lines. But there are times when you might have to be a bit more assertive, let us say. Times like this. John, those sort of questions really are inappropriate. I'm not going to answer them. If you continue to answer them, I'm going to leave. Is it heavy? Well, maybe it is, but there's a time to do it. And maybe if you're at a party and someone's hassling you and asking you questions like, how are you getting home tonight? Maybe it's a time to get away from that person entirely and maybe even just get out of the place. So let's just recap by saying what's too personal is up to you. We have things on a continuum, but we can sort of divide it into three neat groups of general sort of personal questions, things which are getting a little bit familiar, and things which are definitely way over the mark. And what you do about them, well, there's a number of strategies, and some of them are ignore, tell the person it's inappropriate, and forcefully if you have to, and then maybe even leave and get out of the place. If you want to talk about any of these sorts of issues, please contact me. It's easy to do. The best one, your email, you can phone, or you can use my online booking system to book in a time and date and give me your phone number and I'll phone you at that time and date that you've chosen. Anyway, all the very best. I hope you're having a good time. I hope everything's under control. I hope everything's running smoothly for you. And if you want to talk about this stuff, please give us a call, book yourself in, and we can have a chat anytime you like. All the very best to you, and cheerio.